She texted her friend while sitting right next to me. At least he'll pay for the baby, even if it's not his. I saw it in the reflection on the TV cabinet. A bright rectangle against the dark glass. I didn't say a word. That night, I acted like nothing happened. A month later, she was standing in front of a judge, explaining why her baby had no legal father. Funny how an entire life can collapse because of a few words reflected in a screen. We were on the couch that night, watching some mindless action movie. Car chases, flashing lights, noise. Olivia sat beside me, her head resting on my shoulder, thumbs flying across her phone. She thought I was lost in the movie. I wasn't. I was watching her reflection. The text appeared, clear as day. She typed it, sent it, smiled. A reply popped up from her friend Chloe, laughing emojis. Then Olivia typed again. He's so excited. It's actually kind of sad. He has no idea. My body went still. The movie faded into silence. All I could hear was my heartbeat and the faint tap of her thumbs. We'd been together 4 years. She told me she was pregnant a month ago. I was ecstatic. I'd already started turning the spare room into a nursery. We were talking about houses, names, futures. Every bit of it. A lie. She set her phone down, snuggled closer, and said the movie was too loud. I nodded. I wrapped my arm around her and kissed the top of her head. She sighed, content. That was the best acting of my life. Inside, something flipped. The part of me that loved her went dark. In its place came something cold, sharp, and methodical. She thought she could trick me into raising another man's child. She thought I was soft. She had no idea who she was dealing with. I wasn't angry. Anger is noisy. This was quiet, precise. The kind of clarity that only comes when you stop feeling. That night, as she slept peacefully beside me, I stayed awake and began to build a trap. Update 1. The month that followed was a masterclass in deception. On the outside, I was a perfect partner, attentive, supportive, devoted. I went to every appointment. I smiled through her endless baby talk with Chloe. I painted the nursery a soft yellow. Inside, I was a machine. Every move was calculated. The morning after I saw that text, I hired the most ruthless family law attorney I could find, Marcus Thorne. The man was a shark. I told him everything and laid out my goal. I wanted to be legally and financially disconnected from this child. Permanently. Marcus didn't sugarcoat it. What you saw isn't evidence, he said. It's hearsay. We need proof. Scientific, undeniable proof. And we need her to walk into the trap herself. So I set out to get that proof. I hired a private investigator, a former cop who specialized in staying invisible. His job: find out who Olivia had been seeing. It took less than a week. His report had photos, her at lunch with a man named David, the work friend she used to mention. Another photo showed him arriving at her mother's house on nights. She swore she was with the girls. Next came the tricky part: DNA. Marcus explained how paternity law worked. If we were together when the baby was born, the law would assume I was a father. She planned to use that presumption as a shield. We decided to use it as bait. The PI collected the samples. Olivia's was easy. I handed him the disposable cup she used that morning. David's took longer. 2 days of following, then a water bottle from a gym trash can. Perfectly legal, perfectly clean. I sent both samples to a certified lab for a private paternity test. A week later, the results arrived. 99.999% probability David was the father. I saved the PDF in an encrypted folder and went back to playing my role. I threw her a baby shower, bought the food, paid for the decorations, listened to her friends, the same ones who probably read those texts, toast her happiness. Chloe even gave a speech about how Olivia had finally found her forever. I smiled through every second, a wolf in sheep's clothing, watching them celebrate their own downfall. Meanwhile, I was untangling my life from hers. I rerouted my salary to a new personal account, lowered the limit on her credit card under guise of improving our credit before buying a house. I liquidated part of my stock portfolio, converting it quietly into cash. Piece by piece, I was removing her from every corner of my life. moved into a trust. I was stocking my arsenal. When Olivia went into labor, I was there, holding her hand, coaching the breath, playing a devoted partner perfection. When her son arrived, I held him and felt nothing. No spark, no tenderness, only a cold clarity of purpose. A nurse brought the birth certificate forms. This was the hinge of everything. Olivia looked at me, exhausted but triumphant. "You should sign it, babe," she said. I studied the paper, looked at her, and with a steady hand wrote my name on the line labeled father. I had just, in black ink, legally accepted another man's child. The trap clicked into place. Update 2. The breakup was as engineered as the rest. 2 weeks after she came home with the baby, I started a conversation. I framed it as me, my anxiety, my sudden doubts, my inability to cope. I played the overwhelmed, commitment-shy man. Her reaction was perfect. Not sorrow, but a calculating, furious rage. She called me monstrous, a coward, swore she'd see me in court and take everything I had, exactly what I needed. 2 weeks later, I was served. She had filed for full custody and demanded astronomical child support, painting me in court papers as a wealthy father who'd abandoned his family at their most vulnerable moment. Her lawyer, slick, probably working on contingency, smelled a payday. Our first court date was a preliminary hearing in a cramped family courtroom, full of couples in various stages of collapse. Olivia arrived with her mother and Chloe, all dressed in the somber costume of the aggrieved. They regarded me with pure contempt. Her attorney presented as evidence the signed birth certificate, photos from the shower, texts where I'd been jubilant about fatherhood. He painted a damning portrait. "Your Honor," he declared, "this is straightforward. Mr. Evans is the legal, acknowledged father. He's a man of means attempting to shirk his most basic responsibility." The judge, an older, no-nonsense woman, looked through the paperwork and then at me. "Mr. Evans, you signed the birth certificate. Do you wish to speak?" "No, Your Honor," I said. "My counsel will address it." Marcus Thorne stood, file in hand. "Your Honor, we are not here to argue my client's signature. He believed he was a father and acted accordingly. However, new information proves a significant fraud has been perpetrated against my client and this court." Olivia's attorney leapt up. "Objection! There is no evidence of fraud." Marcus's voice was calm and lethal. "There is, Your Honor. Last week we obtained a court-admissible chain of custody DNA test." He set the file on the bench. "The test shows a 0% probability that Mr. Evans is the biological father and a 99.99% probability that the father is one David Harrison." Silence swallowed the room. Olivia's smugness drained to a ghostly white. Her lawyer looked as if he'd been struck. The judge read the report, and her face became hard. She looked at Olivia. "Ma'am," she said, voice dangerously quiet, "is what this document states true? Is this child not Mr. Evans's?" Olivia began to stammer and stumble through excuses. The judge cut her off. "Answer directly. Yes or no?" Olivia glanced at her lawyer, at her mother, their faces collapsing into horror, then at me. For the first time, I think she saw the man she had so badly underestimated. "Yes," she whispered. Final update. The judge's response was swift and brutal. Once Olivia admitted paternity fraud, under oath the case imploded. The judge excoriated Olivia and her counsel for abusing the court, granted our petition to disestablish my paternity, and ordered my name removed from the birth certificate. The child support claim was dismissed with prejudice. She could never bring it again. Marcus had been ready. He moved immediately for Olivia to be held accountable for my legal fees and for punitive damages tied to the emotional and financial toll of her fraud. Though the judge said the DNA alone sufficed, she granted Marcus's motion, and the final judgment was severe. Olivia was ordered to repay every expense I'd incurred in connection with the pregnancy and baby: doctor bills, nursery furniture, baby supplies, even the cost of the shower, and to cover my attorney's fees. The total reached well into 6 figures. The scene at the end of the hearing was brutal. Olivia sobbed uncontrollably as her mother, and a stunned Chloe guided her out. Her scheme to secure an 18-year financial ticket had not only failed, it had left her buried in debt she created for herself. The fallout was total. Our social circle turned on her. Those who branded me a deadbeat now faced the undeniable truth. Chloe distanced herself, protesting she'd been lied to. David, the biological father, was furious. He ended up legally and financially implicated, and from what I was told, he resented both Olivia and the child. As for me, I walked out of the courthouse free. I sold the house, severing the last physical tie to the life she'd manufactured, and moved downtown. I took the funds I'd set aside for a family home and plowed them into my business. My aim went beyond a courtroom victory. It was about forcing her to live inside the truth she'd tried to invent. Every consequence she faces is a direct result of her choices. I didn't ruin her. I stopped financing the fantasy she built. A result that, I found, is the most satisfying victory of